Okay, in this short podcast, I'll talk about what happens after Santa Anna is captured. Well, he's trying to save his own skin. He had been the perpetrator of what are arguably war crimes, especially at Goliad, and he doesn't want to get executed. A lot of the Texas soldiers do want to execute Santa Anna, but the Texas government realizes he's worth a lot more alive than he is dead. So what they do is they negotiate a secret treaty with Santa Anna, and he promises that as the president of Mexico, remember, he's not only head of the Mexican army in Texas, but he's president of Mexico as well. He promises that as president of Mexico, he will recognize the independence of Texas, that Texas is separate from Mexico. And in return, he'll be released. It doesn't quite go down that way. First of all, the Texans put him in irons. They send him up to Washington, D.C. They just kind of want to get him out of their hair. So Santa Anna is sent to Washington, D.C., and then a year later, a U.S. Navy ship lands him back in Mexico. So he's out of Mexico for almost a year. And when he gets back, you'd think his career would be over, but it was really just beginning. No one really knew how he screwed up the Texas campaign except for Pena, right? That's why Pena wrote his book. But for the most part, Santa Anna came back to Mexico, and he wasn't really that tarnished by what had happened in Texas. So we're going to hear from him again. The Mexican government, without Santa Anna, when they got wind of this plan, or that he had secretly agreed to recognize the independence of Texas from Mexico, they completely annulled this proclamation on the part of Santa Anna, or this intention on the part of Santa Anna. They said, no way, we do not recognize Texas as an independent nation. Texas is still part of Mexico. What happens is in Mexico, Mexico was very, very chaotic. There's like a government a year. It's just very confusing to stay on top of all the different governments that are coming and going from Mexico City. But one of the few things that it unites all Mexicans is the desire to bring back Texas into the Mexican Republic. So from 1836 until 1845, when Texas becomes part of the United States, there is a low-level skirmish that continues to occur between Texas, the Republic of Texas, and Mexico. And it's really not until Texas becomes part of the United States, and that happens in December of 1845, that it becomes very, very clear that Texas will never become part of Mexico again, and that Texas has been lost to Mexico forever. So what you have after San Jacinto is Texas hoping to get international recognition as an independent country, hoping that Mexico will recognize Texas's independence, but Mexico refusing, annulling Santa Anna's promise to recognize the independence of Texas. And what the Mexican government said is, look, Santa Anna's promise doesn't mean anything because he was coerced into promising Texas independence. He was a prisoner. This promise that he made has no standing under international law. So that's where things sit after San Jacinto. Mexico still claims Texas. Texas is looking for international recognition. And to be honest with you, most Texans are hoping that Texas will become part of the United States more or less immediately.